Hey everyone! It's the legend leader himself, Kato Namikaze, and as the title and thumbnail suggest, this is What If Inosuke was Tanjiro's adopted brother. Now, before we get into the video, subscribe if you're new, of course like the video if you like it, and comment down any suggestions or advice that's actually helpful, or can be considered nice. And I'll make sure to reply immediately. With that being said, play my shit! Time for a bit of background information. If this were to occur, then a change needs to be made. Let's just say that when Inosuke is a wild child, he travels even further throughout the world, and by the time he is 9, he actually reached Tanjiro's home. For simplicity's sake, let's just say Tanjiro's dad is still alive. Now, what effect would this have? Tanjiro's dad would of course accept Inosuke, and Tanjiro himself would treat him as he treated his other siblings, He treats Inosuke like a little brother. It took a while, but about 1 whole year passes, and then Inosuke of course learns some table manners, and actually helps Tanjiro with work. Another year passes, and this is the year where Tanjiro's dad passes away. But he made sure to leave the Hinokami Kagura, the dance of the fire god, to both Inosuke and Tanjiro. Of course, we skip a few years, and this would be that fateful day, which is the current moment. Tanjiro, along with Inosuke, went down the mountain to sell, some chark wood, or whatever it's called. When traveling down the mountain, Inosuke played around and told Tanjiro that the last one down the mountain has to give the winner some of their side dishes. So the two brothers raced each other, but since Inosuke was more agile, he actually made it first. The two laughed as Inosuke was bragging on how unstoppable he was, and Tanjiro went along and praised his little brother. Though they sell the wood, just like in the original, when going up the mountain they were stopped by the old man and stayed the night. Of course, with Inosuke's hesitance, just like in the original, this would be the night that their family was massacred. Wow, that got dark real quick. The next day, the two boys woke up and got dressed as they went back up the mountain, and as the boys closed in, Tanjiro smelled the scent of blood. Tanjiro put a hand in front of Inosuke and tells him what he smelled. The two boys nodded at each other as they got out their hatchets, as they ran to see what has occurred. What they saw had terrified them beyond any belief. They saw the dead bodies of their family members in their own pool of blood. Inosuke turned to Tanjiro with tears in his eyes. Inosuke would say, "Manjiro, they're sleeping, right? That's curry sauce, right? They'll get back up and say it was a joke, right?" Tanjiro was horrified and didn't know how to answer his brother. That's when Inosuke felt something. Well, someone moving, actually. Inosuke goes towards Nezuko's body, as it was jerking back to back. The brothers knew what they had to do, and quickly took Nezuko, and Tanjiro put her on his back, as the trio starts running full speed down the mountain. Tanjiro and Inosuke had a chaotic storm in their head, and what had just occurred and what happened to their family. As Tanjiro was thinking, he suddenly felt a tug from Nezuko, and he spoke. "Don't worry, Nezuko, you'll be alright." Inosuke picked up on this and followed Tanjiro's lead as he spoke up. "Yeah, little sis, you'll be okay. Don't worry, we can eat rice balls when you get better." But it happened again. Tanjiro felt a tug from Nezuko, but it was much more aggressive, and she kept going and going until he accidentally dropped her. Inosuke yelled at Tanjiro for being an idiot, but then he saw Nezuko's body jerked violently. The brothers dashed at the little sister to help, but when they got close, they were slashed at. Nezuko got up, as her skin was paler than the usual, and her teeth became fangs, and her nails became blades. Inosuke and Tanjiro worried, but Tanjiro would go to his sister and hug her. Inosuke would follow close by until he saw Nezuko pin Tanjiro down. Nezuko's sharp teeth were closing in on Tanjiro's neck, while Tanjiro held her back. That's when the brothers sensed it. Giyu arrived and attacked Nezuko, but Tanjiro moved out the way with Nezuko in hand. Then quickly, in a flash, Giyu had Nezuko in his arms, or basically, in the chokehold, as he was ready to kill her. Inosuke and Tanjiro were in a panic, and they were sort of pretty angry. The brothers charged at Giyu on different sides. Tanjiro threw his hatchet in the air as he charged at Giyu, looking as if he was armed. Inosuke threw his own hatchet at Giyu ahead of himself, and then kicked Giyu. Giyu blocked Inosuke's hatchet, but he had to let go Nezuko for 1 second to block both of the brothers as he threw Inosuke to the side and knocked out Tanjiro. He quickly grabbed Nezuko again, but just like that, he saw a glint in the air. He quickly dodged aside, nearly getting hit by Tanjiro's hatchet. He was impressed, to say the least. But Nezuko got out of his grip as she stood between him and her beloved brothers. Giyu is now extremely confused and bewildered, as this is the first time he saw a demon try to protect a human. He moves fast, and when behind her, he knocked her out and put a bamboo muzzle on her. Later, after an hour, the brothers woke up, and when seeing Nezuko knocked out, they got right back up to fight again. But this is where things would align with the original, as Giyu starts to explain to them on what they'll be doing next. So Tanjiro, along with Inosuke, does one last thing before they leave. They decide to, of course, bury the dead bodies of their family members. After that, they then left off in search of this master Giyu spoke of. Along the way, Tanjiro even made a barrel, along with Inosuke. They made a barrel for Nezuko to sleep in as she couldn't stay in the sun. As much as Inosuke was sad, he was comforted by the thought that at least their little sister was alive, and that Tanjiro will always comfort him, saying everything will be okay. Several days later, Tanjiro is carrying Nezuko and Inosuke is walking by him, and had just passed the town. While doing so, they're passing a temple at the current moment. The strange thing is that the lights are on even though they don't see no one. But then Tanjiro smelt it, the scent of blood. He quickly informs Inosuke of this, and while taking out their hatchets again, they closed in on the temple, hoping to save anyone. And time for the good old plugin. And I also hope that anyone watching this, they just, currently know that only 6.6% of you guys watching my videos are subscribers. So if you like what you hear or see on this channel, then freaking subscribe. Oh yeah. Now back to the story though. When going inside the temple, the two brothers are wary of who is there. But then Inosuke felt the vibrations on the ground and picked up on something moving towards them at high speeds. He quickly pushed Tanjiro out of the way of an attack from a demon. The brothers looked at the demon as it looks at them and sees them as fodder, or basically food. But still, the brothers had hope as they tightly gripped their hatchets as they charged at the demon. But as we all know, since they don't have breathing styles or breathing techniques, they get bodied really easily. Just when Nezuko, who exists in the barrel by the way, she was seeing her brothers getting hurt, she quickly stepped in to defend the only family she had left. Nezuko would beat the living shit out of the demon, as it was confused on why a fellow demon was helping humans. Of course, the older brothers wouldn't just be showed off, and actually planned to pin the demon head to the tree. Now, as in the original, Urokodaki shows up and tells them that they need a special blade. He gives the blade to Tanjiro. Now, of course, Tanjiro can't bring himself to do it, as he feels too much sympathy for the demons. And Inosuke would usually be able to do it, but he also would feel shame and guilt, as his little sister is now a demon as well. So, in the end, when the sun comes up, the demon does burn to a crisp. Now, the trio travels to the mountains with Urokodaki, where Urokodaki lives, and they settle down. But this is where their brothers started to worry as Nezuko stopped waking up, and were scared. Well, until Urokodaki explained that demons eat humans to receive energy, and most likely Nezuko is recovering energy in a different way than normal by sleeping. The brothers, they hope that this was the case, but they do make a resolve that they will spend their whole lives if they have to, just to be able to cure their sister of this. Urokodaki, he likes his spirit, and tells them to prepare themselves for hell on earth. From tomorrow on, they will be training under him. So begins their next 2 years of training. I would say that Tanjiro and Inosuke would be stronger than their canon selves due to the fact that they have someone to train with and push themselves to greater heights. So when the time comes when Tanjiro and Inosuke have learned everything, they are placed in a desolate area. in the mountains with 2 extremely hard and large boulders. Oh wow, that sounded mad weird. And they are expected to destroy it. They were also told not to come back until they destroy those boulders or mainly slice through it. At first, both tried as hard as possible to destroy the boulders until 4 hours later of constant slashing, they realized that they need an alternative plan. The brothers decide to split up and find their own ways to accomplish this feat. Of course, just as in the original, Tanjiro would receive help from the afterlife, but Inosuke would be a different topic altogether. As Inosuke is thinking of what he can do, he remembers that he used to have a breathing style that he was developing as a child. He called it beast breathing. It took 1 week for Inosuke to master beast breathing up to 6 forms. He then tried to compare it to water breathing, and inadvertently, he actually created a new breathing style. He would call this water serpent breathing. So after 1 month, the brothers had to prove the fruits of their training. And Tanjiro, as in the original, was sliced through the boulder. He would actually slice through his boulder, and Inosuke would do something very extreme as he tried out his new breathing style. He would then perform a move that combined beast breathing first form, first fang, and water breathing 7th form, drop ripple thrust. He called this water serpent breathing 3rd form, drop fang thrust. He then pierces the boulder at full power, and to his surprise, he blew a hole right through the boulder. As soon as the hole was made, more and more cracks were formed until the boulder broke into pieces, or just broke into 2. Now, after completing their task, the brothers went back to Urokodaki's home, and when they arrived, Urokodaki dropped the wood that he was carrying as he dashed towards him and embraced him in a hug and told him that they did well. Tanjiro cried in joy, and Inosuke himself sniffled a bit at their victory, but soon gave in and cried tears of joy. The brothers went to go take a bath and wash up. They were given new clothes, but of course, they kept their momentums on. Tanjiro's green checkered kimono robe, and for Inosuke, it was a fur of a boar he killed in the mountains, as he used it as a scarf of some sorts. The two had their hair trimmed and was given freshly made food after so long, but hopefully they enjoy this moment as they can. Hopefully they can enjoy this moment as much as they can, because as we all know, they're going to be going to the final selection. And this, everyone, would be actually the end of part 1. And if you guys liked this video, make sure to press the like button. But what is the like goal, you might ask? The like goal is 15 likes for this part. Now, before you guys leave, I just want to make sure that you are subscribing if you're new. And lastly, just to tell you guys this, please go check out my fan fiction. It's called Hollow Cry. I will leave a link to it down in the description below. You can find it on Wattpad and Web Novel. Personally, I do suggest Web Novel as I do upload there consistently. And with that being said, everyone, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity.